Mr. Yannetti, are you pursuing a third-party culprit defense?
We are, Your Honor, and I'm prepared to address that. The Commonwealth has raised the issue, and I am prepared to address that today.
So you filed your motions first, and you did not raise it. So if the Commonwealth had not raised it, you did not move to introduce it, correct? I have no motion from.
No, I understand. I understand, Your Honor. If you'd like something in writing for us, we can do that. I have a full argument prepared.
All right, so who is the third-party culprit?
We are under no obligation to name any specific third-party culprit.
Lieutenant Randy Sutton, what'd you think of that?
I call that a tap dance. That's what that was.
I agree with you, Lieutenant. I agree with you, Lieutenant. The prosecution's case just might get destroyed tonight. The prosecution's case just might get destroyed tonight.
What the defense is doing here, they're throwing a massive smoke screen up. And I think they're really playing to the media and playing to the people that are outside that courtroom chanting her name in support, which I find a little strange to begin with as well. So far, the prosecution looks like it's in pretty good shape. The motions that have been put before the court by the defense are very, very shaky. So it's be interesting to see how they purport themselves as this trial continues.
Isn't that the truth, Lieutenant? I'm with you. I see a big, giant smoke screen. I'm with you. I see a big, giant smoke screen.
I'm shocked that the truth is being stymied here by the state in what really looks like a cover-up now.
I think Karen Reed is innocent, and I think they believe this with all of their hearts.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know a lot of our courties think so, too. They think that this is an innocent woman who's being framed and just outnumbered. There's nothing worse than a dirty cop. You know, I'll take a criminal all day long before a dirty cop, right? Because they're
Held to a higher standard.
And that maybe those bite marks we're looking at right there might have been from a dog.
There's zero question that
in the house or from a fight. You know, who knows? If they're right, I mean, what might happen there to this department?
Well, sadly, Julie, we're not talking potentially about a dirty cop. We may be talking about several dirty cops. We may be talking about several dirty cops.
I can see how this case unfolds, how the scapegoat, Miss Reed, gets picked, and how this case proceeds to right now.
Who lost the love of her life, who is being falsely accused, and who is going through this process probably as shocked and appalled as the rest of us.
You're right. If she went through a trauma, that's one thing to remember, too. You're right. If she went through a trauma, that's one thing to remember, too. For the death of her boyfriend, which she admitted to hitting him at the scene. By the way, admitted to hitting him at the scene when he was found in the snow, which she admitted to hitting him at the scene. By the way, admitted to hitting him at the scene. This defense team tried very hard to get this case kicked before trial. I think that was their mission from the outset. Let's create as much of a scene and chaos and make this seem like this woman is being framed to try to get rid of it. I think they've done everything in their power to do that. And now that it's gone forward, it's like, oh boy, here we are.
There's a conspiracy here, and it's going to force certain individuals to answer very, very hard questions because that evidence is going to be irrefutable. Phone calls that were made, phone calls that were placed, received, research that was done, Google searches, things of that nature, that there is no way to explain away. As an investigator, this is exactly the kind of evidence that I rely on. Who are the first 5 people they spoke to? Develop their identities, interview those folks. What did you talk about? What was the conversation like? What was that person's demeanor? What was going on? You can't push back on because it is irrefutable.
Jennifer McCabe, homeowner Brian Albert's sister-in-law, was searching on her phone how long to die in cold on January 29th, 2022 at 2:27 a.m. There is simply no innocent explanation for McCabe's search at that time. There is simply no innocent explanation for McCabe's search at that time. The evidence unequivocally exonerates Karen Reed because it establishes that individuals who were in the house at 34 Fairview that night were aware that John was dying in the snow before Karen even knew that he was missing. And who knows? Yeah, and who knows what their juices, their reasoning. If anyone's being paid to stand out there with signs.
How the scapegoat, Miss Reed, gets picked, and how this case proceeds to right now.
Who lost the love of her life, who is being falsely accused, and who is going through this process probably as shocked and appalled as the rest of us.
You're right. She went through a trauma. That's one thing to remember, too. You know, she might be a defendant, but she was traumatized without question, trying to save his life, trying to do CPR at the end of all of that. You're right. She went through a trauma. That's one thing to remember, too. You know, she might be a defendant, but she was traumatized without question, trying to save his life, trying to do CPR at the end of all of that.